When it comes to Hollywood's legendary tough guys, Lee Marvin easily secures a spot at the top of the list. But there's a lot more to this actor than just his rugged persona. You might be surprised by what he did after winning an Oscar. Today, we'll uncover the untold story of Lee Marvin's life and career. Before becoming one of Hollywood's most respected actors, let's first explore where it all began for Lee Marvin. He was born Lamont Waltman Marvin Jr. on February 24, 1924, to World War I veteran Lamont Waltman Marvin and fashion designer Courtney Washington. Growing up in New York, young Marvin didn't exactly enjoy school. He struggled with ADHD and dyslexia, making academics a constant uphill battle. Despite his struggles, Marvin developed into a resourceful young man. In his teenage years, he spent his weekends hunting deer, wild turkeys, and bobwhite quail in the wilds of the Everglades, an adventurous pastime that suited him perfectly during the 1930s. His school years were far from smooth. He attended Manumit School, a progressive Christian socialist boarding school in New York, and later Peekskill Military Academy. Known for his rebellious streak, he was expelled from several schools due to smoking, fighting, and other mischief. Eventually, he landed at St. Leo College in Florida, but life had bigger plans for him. When World War II broke out, Marvin enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps on August 12, 1942. His father, a proud Marine himself, wasn't entirely thrilled with the decision, but Marvin was determined. Boot camp instilled in him a sense of discipline, though his rebellious side never fully disappeared. Before long, Marvin completed infantry school and served as a quartermaster. But that wasn't the extent of his military career. He became a scout sniper in the 4th Marine Division, fighting in the brutal Pacific Theater. Marvin saw intense combat in the battles of Eniwetok and Saipan, some of the deadliest conflicts of the war. During the fierce Battle of Saipan, Marvin was seriously wounded on June 18, 1944. Hit by machine gun fire in his sciatic nerve and then shot again in the foot by a sniper, he was taken off the battlefield for treatment. He spent over a year recovering from his injuries. In recognition of his bravery, Marvin received a medical discharge and was awarded a Purple Heart. His military honors didn't stop there. He also earned the Presidential Unit Citation, the Asiatic Pacific Campaign Medal, the Combat Action Ribbon, and several other commendations. If not for his rebellious streak, Marvin likely would have held on to his former rank of corporal instead of being demoted to private first class. Despite his injuries, Marvin credited his time in the Marines for shaping his future acting career. As he once told interviewer Robert Ward, "The Marines taught me how to act. After that, pretending to be tough was easy." After the war, Lee Marvin, easily recognized by his white hair and steely demeanor, returned home, unsure of what life held next. He picked up work as a plumber's assistant in Woodstock, New York. Fate intervened when Marvin was asked to fill in for a sick actor in a local production. That one opportunity sparked a passion for acting, leading him to join the company for $7 a week. Marvin's love for acting took him to Greenwich Village, where he studied at the American Theater Wing. Thankfully, the GI Bill covered his tuition, making it possible for him to pursue his new dream. Early in his career, Marvin took on various small, often uncredited roles. His stage debut came in 1949 with the play Billy Budd, quickly followed by The 19th Hole of Europe the same year. Soon, he was landing more work, especially on television. His first film role came in 1951 in You're in the Navy Now, a war comedy that also marked the debut of Charles Bronson and Jack Warden. That same year, he appeared in Fred Zinnemann's Teresa, where his military background proved invaluable. Marvin helped direct realistic infantry movements on set, advised on costumes, and ensured the actors used firearms properly. Yet, Marvin's real-life Marine experience often typecast him into roles as soldiers, policemen, or authority figures. While many of these parts were small, they kept him steadily employed. He He appeared in TV anthologies like Fireside Theater and Rebound, and in films such as Diplomatic Courier, Down Among the Sheltering Palms, and Hangman's Knot. By 1953, Marvin was making a name for himself in westerns too. He took on roles in films like The Stranger Wore a Gun with Randolph Scott and Gun Fury. These roles would eventually lead to his big break. The 1950s marked the peak of Lee Marvin's career as his long-awaited breakthrough finally arrived. His portrayal of the villain Vince Stone in the 1953 noir crime film The Big Heat earned widespread acclaim. That same year, he shared the screen with Marlon Brando in the American crime classic The Wild One, playing Chino, the leader of a motorcycle gang called the Beatles. Both films were met with success and established Marvin as a rising star, opening doors to even more high-profile projects. In 1955, Marvin gave another standout performance in Violent Saturday, impressing critics who praised the depth and complexity he brought to his character. That same year, he co-starred alongside Frank Sinatra in the medical drama Not as a Stranger. Throughout the decade, Marvin frequently took on supporting roles in films like A Life in the Balance, Pete Kelly's Blues, and Jane Wyman Presents the Fireside Theater. However, it was the TV series M Squad that gave Marvin his first leading role, playing tough Chicago cop Frank Ballinger. The show made him a household name, and Marvin quickly became known for his versatility, taking on a wide range of characters. Yet it was in 1965 that Marvin truly showcased his acting chops by pulling off a rare cinematic feat, playing two completely different characters in the same film. That movie was Cat Ballou, a comedic western adapted from The Ballad of Cat Ballou. Starring opposite Jane Fonda, Marvin's dual performance helped the film earn a place on the American Film Institute's 2008 list of the top 10 westerns of all time. Cat Ballou tells the story of Catherine "Cat" Ballou, played by Fonda, who hires a once notorious gunslinger, Kid Shalene, to protect her father's ranch. When her father is murdered by hired killers working for the Wolf City Development Corporation, Cat turns to Shalene for revenge. But there's a problem. Shalene, once a feared gunman, is now a washed-up, bumbling alcoholic. Despite her doubts, Cat has no choice but to rely on him. Marvin's performance brought two entirely different personas to life: the comedic, sloshed, pants-falling-down Shalene, and the cold, ruthless assassin Tim Strawn. Where Strawn was chilling and deadly, Shalene provided laugh-out-loud moments, staggering around in drunken disarray. Remarkably, the two were later revealed to be brothers, polar opposites in every way. While Strawn was merciless and violent, Shalene was a broken man trying to outrun his own demons. Cat's belief in Shalene gave him the strength to face his past and his brother in a gripping showdown. Seeing Marvin seamlessly switch between humor and menace made Cat Ballou unforgettable. Many viewers could hardly believe both roles were played by the same actor. Naturally, the film became a major box office success and brought Marvin critical acclaim. His brilliant performance earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor. True to his dry humor, Marvin famously dedicated half of his Oscar to his horse, joking, "I think half of this belongs to a horse someplace out in the valley," drawing laughter from the crowd. Following Cat Ballou, Marvin starred in The Professionals, 1966, another hit western, and then landed one of his most memorable roles as Major John Reisman in The Dirty Dozen, 1967. Acting alongside stars like Charles Bronson, Jim Brown, John Cassavetes, and Donald Sutherland, Marvin solidified his status as a Hollywood heavyweight. Winning the Oscar gave Marvin significant creative control, and he made the most of it with Point Blank, 1967, directed by John Boorman. Their collaboration continued with Hell in the Pacific, 1968, a war drama that, while not a commercial hit, earned critical praise for its ambition. By the 1970s, Marvin began branching out from villainous roles and explored a broader range of characters. He remained a popular choice for westerns, starring in films like Monty Walsh, Prime Cut, Pocket Money, Emperor of the North, and The Iceman Cometh. Despite his fame, Marvin was famously private, rarely speaking publicly about friendships or his personal life in Hollywood. Marvin once confessed, "I can't stand myself. If I could, I'd play the same guy in all my roles. I don't even like my own company. I've got nothing new to tell myself, nor do I like the company of other actors. If I don't like myself, how could I like them?" As a result, Marvin often avoided Hollywood's social scene. "Since I can't go out in public like I used to, I do most of my socializing with the working stiffs on set. The stuntmen, the gaffers, the prop guys," he explained. "They're the ones who keep me grounded." When it came to Lee Marvin's relationships, his love life was marked by 2 marriages and one very public scandal that eventually landed in court. His first marriage was to Betty Ebeling in 1952. Although their relationship eventually ended in divorce, they spent around 15 years together, including a brief 2-year separation before making it official in 1967. Together, they had 4 children, 1 son, Christopher Lamont, and 3 daughters, Courtney Lee, Cynthia Louise, and Claudia Leslie. Shortly after parting ways with Ebeling, Marvin began a relationship with actress Michelle Triola. From 1965 to 1970, Triola lived with Marvin as his partner. Though they were never married, she legally took his last name and later sought financial support, leading to the infamous palimony lawsuit. Triola argued that during their 6 years together, she became pregnant by Marvin and claimed he had paid for 2 abortions, while another pregnancy ended in miscarriage. She also alleged that one abortion left her unable to have children. The lawsuit quickly became national news, with the public following every twist. While the court awarded Triola $114,000 for rehabilitation, it denied her claim to half of Marvin's $4 million earnings during their time together. Since their arrangement didn't meet the legal standards of a marriage, the financial claim didn't hold up. 2 years later, a further court ruling voided even the original award after determining no contract existed between them at all. As for Triola, she later found love with actor Dick Van Dyke, with whom she remained until her passing from lung cancer in 2009. Marvin's second and last marriage was to his childhood sweetheart, Pamela Feely, in 1970. This marriage lasted until Marvin's death in 1987. As the years went by, Marvin's popularity on the big screen began to decline. By the 1980s, his projects had become fewer and less high-profile. His last significant role came as the Sergeant in Samuel Fuller's 1980 war epic, The Big Red One. Following that, films like Death Hunt, Gorky Park, and Dog Day saw more modest success, along with his later TV appearances. In 1985, he revisited one of his most famous roles as Major John Reisman in The Dirty Dozen, Next Mission, the sequel continuing the original story 18 years later, despite the actors being visibly older. Behind the scenes, Marvin's struggles with alcoholism were no secret, a battle he fought since his wartime service. One legendary incident happened on the set of The Dirty Dozen, where Marvin's drinking nearly derailed production. During a key scene where his character was supposed to drive a truck alongside Charles Bronson's character, Marvin was nowhere to be found. Eventually, the crew discovered him drunk at a local pub. They rushed him back to set, poured coffee into him, and tried to sober him up just enough to finish the scene. Reportedly, a furious Bronson threatened to kill Marvin on the spot, but thankfully, the incident didn't stop the movie from becoming a classic. As for his passing, Marvin died of a heart attack on August 29, 1987, at the age of 63. Before that, he had suffered a ruptured intestine, leading to respiratory failure. Though doctors tried treating him with steroids to help his breathing, it only led to cardiac arrest. Marvin had also spent over 2 weeks in the hospital the year before, in December 1986, suffering from coccidioidomycosis, a serious fungal infection. Despite his fame as a Hollywood star, Marvin valued his service as a Marine far more than his acting career. When he was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery, his gravestone bore no mention of his work in film, only his name, rank, and military service. Lee Marvin, PFC, Marine Corps, World War II. Perhaps Marvin's distance from the Hollywood spotlight in his later years was because he understood its fleeting nature better than most. "Stardom," he once said, "they put your name on a star on the sidewalk in Hollywood, and one day you walk by and see a pile of dog crap on it. That's all you need to know, baby."